Namaskar. Good evening. It's 9 p.m. and you're watching the news on Sansad TV. I'm Rajiv Kumar Singh. Over the next half an hour, we'll bring you all the newsworthy stories from the nation and from the international front. First up, the headlines we are tracking at this hour. Need to fight dynasty politics to save democracy, says Prime Minister Modi in virtual address to BJP national office bearers in Jaipur. Accuses opposition of exploiting small incidents for petty gains. CBI registers new case against Lalu Yadav, charges him with taking land from candidates in exchange for jobs in railways. In address to E-Vidhan training program in Lucknow, Speaker of Lok Sabha emphasizes need to enrich parliamentary traditions and legislative processes. Food grain output estimated at record 314.51 million tons, higher by 3.77 million tons than 2020-21. Northeast states affected by rain and floods. Torrential rain forecast in 9 districts of Kerala. Flood alert in 5 districts of Tamil Nadu. Now let us look at some other important news stories of the day. Centre flags concerns regarding considerably slow pace of COVID-19 vaccination across the states and union territories. President Kovind meets Governor General of St. Vincent and Grenadines. India signs MOU on refurbishment of old Calder Community project. Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar and Election Commissioner Anup Chandra Pandey give up perks as part of austerity measure. Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan inaugurates IIT Guwahati's Northeast Research Conclave. India slams Pakistan for unwarranted remarks on Jammu and Kashmir, calls comments made by Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari as Pavlovian response. Encounter of accused in 2019 sensational gang rape and murder of Hyderabad woman fake, says Supreme Court appointed commission. Recommends the trial of corpse for murder. 13 labourers trapped as under construction tunnel collapses on Jammu-Srinagar National Highway in Ramban. Orders of Delimitation Commission redrawing assembly and parliamentary constituencies in Jammu and Kashmir take effect. Supreme Court calls for Pegasus report by 20th June. Panel tells a top court that it examined 29 mobile phones. G7 economies and global financial institutions to provide $19.8 billion aid to bolster Ukraine's public finances. Targeting the Congress and other opposition parties, Prime Minister Narendra Modi termed dynasty politics as dangerous for democracy. He added that parties indulging in dynasty politics only want to take the country backward. Addressing the BJP's national office bearers meeting in Jaipur via video conferencing, Prime Minister Modi urged the BJP leaders to give chance to such people who are not connected in political parties. He asserted that 8 years of the BJP-led NDA government have been dedicated to the country's balanced development, social justice and social security.
ये परिवारवादी पार्टियां आज भी देश को पीछे ले जाने पर तुली हुई है। उनका सार्वजनिक जीवन परिवार से शुरू होता है, परिवार के लिए चलता है, परिवार की खातिर ही करता है। भाजपा को इन परिवारवादी पार्टियों से निरंतर मुकाबला कर।
There is more trouble for Bihar's former Chief Minister and RJD leader Lalu Yadav. The CBI has filed a fresh FIR against him and his family members over alleged irregularities in recruitment between 2004 and 2009 when he was the railway minister in the UPA government. The fresh case comes just weeks after he was granted bail in a forest scam case. He has been charged with allegedly taking over 1 lakh square feet land in Patna from candidates in return for Group D jobs in railways. The CBI has named Prasad, his wife Rabri Devi and daughters Misa Bharti and Hema Yadav, in addition to 12 people who were given jobs in railways. Following the FIR on May 18th, the agency launched a search operation at 16 locations in Delhi, Patna and Gopalganj at the premises of Prasad, his family members and other accused. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla said it is the responsibility of the legislators to maintain the dignity of the House through meaningful debates and proper communication. He made the observation while inaugurating a 2-day special orientation program for newly elected members of the Uttar Pradesh Assembly in Lucknow. Lok Sabha Speaker emphasized that sloganeering and disruptions only lower the dignity of the House. The program also aims to train UP's legislators on the e-Vidhan system, which will bring about paperless mode of working. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, Leader of Opposition Akhilesh Yadav and UP Vidhan Sabha Speaker Satish Mahana were present on the occasion.
कि धीरे धीरे जिस तरीके से सदों में हंगामा, नारेबाजी, तख्तियां, जिसके कारण सदनों की गरिमा गिरती जा रही है। सदन की गरिमा बनाने की जिम्मेदारी हमारी है और क्योंकि ये प्रतिनिधि लोकसभा और विधानसभाएं होती है, इसलिए प्रतिनिधियों के आचरण और व्यवहार का आधार पर सदन की गरिमा बढ़ती है।
Reserve Bank of India has approved a dividend payment of 30,307 crore rupees as a surplus to the central government for the financial year 2020-21. The RBI board has decided to maintain the contingency risk buffer at 5.50%. The decision was made in the 596th meeting of the Central Board of Directors of RBI headed by Governor Shaktikanta Das held on Friday. Last year, in May, RBI declared a dividend of rupees 99,122 crore for the 9-month period from July 2020 to March 2021. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has expressed concern over cartelization in the markets. Addressing the 13th annual day function of the Competition Commission of India, the Finance Minister said the regulator needs to have a proactive understanding of mergers and acquisitions. Amid rising inflation, the Finance Minister emphasized the need to look at supply disruptions in order to ensure no monopolistic situations cause price hikes or supply manipulations. Congress leader Navjot Singh Sidhu surrendered a day after the Supreme Court sentenced him to 1 year rigorous imprisonment in the 1988 road rage case. A 65-year-old man was killed in a road rage incident. He was taken to Patiala jail after a medical checkup, according to reports. The Supreme Court extended the deadline for submitting the investigation report in the alleged Pegasus espionage case to a supervisory judge, saying it should be completed in 4 weeks. The court said the technical committee that was investigating 29 mobile phones for Pegasus spyware also regarded this statement of some people. The RBI has directed banks and ATM operators to provide cardless cash withdrawal facility at all ATMs. National Payments Corporation of India has been asked to provide assistance in connecting all banks and ATM networks with UPI. India is fast emerging as the favorite investment destination. The country received $83.57 billion as FDI in financial year 2021-22. There has been a 20-fold increase in FDI inflows into India in the last 20 years. Prime Minister congratulated Nikhat Zareen on winning gold in the women's World Boxing Championships. At the 12th IBA Women's World Boxing Championships in Istanbul, Nikhat Zareen won the gold medal with a stunning 5-0 win. The centre has expressed concern on the slow pace of vaccination of COVID-19 in many states and union territories. It has appealed for efforts to accelerate the pace of vaccination coverage. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan underscored the need to take up the COVID-19 vaccination in mission mode. He said the states and union territories should also run the Har Ghar Dastak campaign in June and July. The states and union territories were asked to regularly review the preventive vaccinations being administered in private hospitals for the age group of 18 to 59 years. The Ministry of Agriculture released its third advance estimate of yields of major crops for 2020-21-22. The production of food grains is estimated to be a record 31 crore 45 lakh 10,000 tons. This is 37 lakh 70,000 tons more than in 2020-21. In 2021-22, the production of food grains is estimated to be 23.8 million tons, more than the average of the last 5 years. The ministry has estimated a record production of rice, maize, pulses, oilseeds, gram, linseed, mustard and sugarcane. Floods in 29 districts of Assam have displaced nearly 7.5 lakh people. More than 3 lakh people have been affected in Assam's Nagaon district. About 1,60,000 people have been affected in Kachar and 1 lakh in Hojali. 1,790 villages are submerged and crops have been destroyed in over 64,000 hectares. President Ramnath Kovind on Friday met Dame Susan Dogan, the Governor-General of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, on the last leg of his visit to the Caribbean countries. The two sides signed a memorandum of understanding for exchange of information and cooperation related to tax collection and a project for the upliftment of the ancient Cald community. The President addressed the Parliament there.
With St. Vincent and the Grenadines is based on the spirit of universal brotherhood. We want to support our brothers and sisters here in building a stronger St. Vincent and the Grenadines with infrastructure projects that add value to the well-being of the people.
President Ramnath Kovind renamed Calder Road in Kingston as India Drive Bharat Marg in the presence of St. Vincent and Grenadines Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves and members of the local community. Time for a short break here. Watch rare manuscripts worth their weight in gold from the Bhagavad Purana to the decrees of the kings and rulers. Coming up on the other side.
Symbolic of the deepening India-Africa relations is the fact that India is now the continent's 4th largest trading partner and the 5th largest investor in Africa.
Africa and India both have very youthful populations. You could have as many as 700 million people coming into the workforce, and if they all were productively employed, just see the economic activity which will happen.
India is one of our largest purchasers of our own crude oil. And in addition to that, we have a lot of students who are studying here in India,
Yes.
more than any other African country.
Welcome back. Let's now get you all the latest development from the Russia-Ukraine war. The governor of the Luhansk region says that 12 people died in Severodonetsk in Thursday in the advance by the Russian forces. The Russian advance across the Luhansk region destroyed more than 60 houses. The General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces, however, said that Russia's latest assault in Severodonetsk was unsuccessful and the Russians lost personnel and then retreated. Ukraine President Zelensky reiterated that his genocide charge against Russia in his nightly address on Thursday. He said Russian military was trying to kill as many Ukrainians as possible. Zelensky slammed the heavy shelling of the eastern city of Severodonetsk that left at least 12 dead and over 40 injured as brutal and senseless. US President Joe Biden applauded Congress for passing the $40 billion aid to Ukraine in its defense from Russian invaders. He promised that his administration will continue delivering support for the embattled nation. The Senate on Thursday passed legislation aimed at providing $39.8 billion in additional military and humanitarian aid to Ukraine. Biden is set to sign the measure quickly. Two MPs from ruling United Russia Party submitted a draft bill to Russia's parliament that will remove the upper age limit for men to serve in the country's armed forces. The current maximum age limit is 40. The bill claims that highly qualified specialists are needed to fire high-precision weapons and operate weaponry and armor. A period of 1 year military service for men is obligatory in Russia. The conscription age is currently between 18 and 27. The Russian Defense Ministry has said that Moscow will create new military bases in the west of the country to counter the strengthening of NATO near its borders. Finland and Sweden have both formally submitted applications to join NATO, a military alliance of 30 Western nations. A lawyer for the first Russian soldier on trial for war crimes told the court that his client is not guilty. Vadim Shishimarin has admitted killing an unarmed 62-year-old man in Ukraine village. His lawyer argued that Shishimarin carried out an order from someone of a higher rank and could not have known whether the order was criminal or not, just like anyone else in that situation would not know. He added that Shishimarin did not mean to commit a crime and felt that there was a treat to his life. The verdict is expected on Monday. A conflict in Ukraine has upended the fragile economic recovery from the pandemic, triggering a devastating humanitarian crisis in Europe and globally, exacerbating inflationary pressures. The United Nations has forecast that this will cause a substantial deterioration in global economic growth.
Global economic growth prospects have changed dramatically since the last forecast of the United Nations in January. That was the time when it had said the year 2022 will see a 4% growth. That forecast has now been scaled down to 3.1%.
This deterioration in growth prospects is broad-based, including for the world's largest economies, the United States, the European Union, China, and many developing countries.
Mukherjee said there are uncertainties in the forecast, including significant downside risks like the length of the war, the continuance of the pandemic, or adverse shocks from climate change. Economic repercussions are playing out globally through multiple channels. One is the surging prices of food, energy, and other commodities that are driving inflation. The UN report projects inflation to increase 6.7% in 2022, twice the average of 2.9% from the past decade. Inflation disproportionately affects low-income households, and worsening food inflation pushes many below the poverty line. The impact on the global economy also affects the world's fight against climate change at a time when there is an opportunity to ramp up global climate action. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Some other global updates in this quick wrap. Food and energy prices are dragging Italy toward a record 6.8% inflation rate, the highest level since joining the common euro currency in 1999. Prices of fish, wheat, electricity and fuel are rising as a result of increasing costs across all sectors of the production and distribution chain. Inflation is expected to hit nearly 7% 8% this year in the 27-nation EU and is contributing to slowing growth forecasts. Egypt launched a new national strategy to tackle climate change. The billion-dollar National Climate Change Strategy 2050 is expected to support a stronger, greener Egyptian economy. It includes adaptation and mitigation programs in all sectors until 2050. The cost of mitigation program is estimated at around $211 billion. Egypt is also hosting the 27th UN Climate Change Conference in the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh in November. Debt-ridden Sri Lanka appointed 9 new cabinet ministers on Friday to ensure stability until a full cabinet is formed. Former Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva, representing the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, independent MPs Susil Prem Jayanta, Vijay Dasa Rajapaksa, Thiran Alice were among the new 9 ministers sworn in on Friday by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Australian health authorities said a confirmed case of monkeypox has been detected in Victoria State, with another suspected case in New South Wales. Victoria State Chief Health Officer Brett Sutton said a traveller in his 30s flew from London to Melbourne via Abu Dhabi earlier this week. A New York court is hearing a case asking for an elephant to be considered a legal person. It has been filed by animal rights organization No Human Rights Project, which has said the Asian elephant Happy has been detained unlawfully at the Bronx Zoo and should be sent to an elephant sanctuary. The animal rights group has filed a habeas corpus petition, which is typically used to determine whether a person's detention is lawful. The decision depends on whether a court of appeals in New York's highest court considers Happy a person. Worth more than their weight in gold, 50 historic manuscripts from around the world are going on display in London, all featuring the writing pure gold. Let us look at the package.
This religious manuscript is pure gold, and it isn't the only one. The British Library is displaying 50 gold-laden manuscripts from 20 different countries, written in 17 languages, spanning over 1500 years. There is the Bhagavad Puran from the late 18th century. Gold seems to be the metal of choice because of its very special qualities. It's malleable, it's soft, and does not tarnish with time. The gleam of gold, it seems, speaks a universal language, expressing awe and reverence. One of the smallest items is a mini octagonal Quran from Persia, dating from the 16th or 17th century. Encased in white jade, its covers are pure gold. There is also a letter addressed to King Richard II during the 100 Years' War between England and France, calling for peace. Written in Malay, another letter sent to Napoleon III by the ruler of Johor uses chrysography, also known as gold ink, for the first time. Some manuscripts were written directly on pure gold, a guarantee of lasting records. The biggest item on display is a royal decree from 1789 from the Mughal emperor. It was issued to an English woman, Sophia Plowden, giving her an aristocratic rank in recognition of her publication of Persian and Hindustani songs. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
The world record holder in towing multi-ton equipment, nicknamed the Russian Hulk, set a new world record on May 19th by towing 3 helicopters at the same time without the use of special devices such as ladders. His feat was recorded in Moscow since, as the organizer said, Russian athletes are facing bans from international bodies, including the Guinness Book of Records.
3 helicopters lined up parallel to each other. The Russian Hulk towed them all, their combined weight of 15.6 tons, over a distance of 4.3 meters in 24.63 seconds. The helicopters included the 9-ton Mi-8 helicopter in the middle, 2 Ansett helicopters on the sides loaded up to 3.3 tons each. While towing the helicopters, the Russian Hulk even inflated a hot water bottle to burst. The athlete had to make 3 attempts. Struggling to pull the helicopters along the road made slippery by rain. The event took place at the flight test complex of the Kazan helicopter plant, part of the Russian helicopter company of the state corporation Rostec. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Now all the action from the world of sports. Starting with badminton, India's ace shuttler PV Sindhu has made it to the semi-finals of the Thailand Open Badminton being played in Bangkok. In the quarter-finals, 6th Sindhu defeated 2nd-seeded Japanese Akane Yamaguchi in 3 games, 21-15, 20-22, 21-13. Sindhu now plays 3rd-seed China's Chen Yufei in the semi-finals. In boxing, Nikhat Zareen made history on Thursday as she bagged a gold medal in the 52 kg category of the IBA Women's World Boxing Championships. Zareen's accomplishments sent a ray of jubilation across the country. Even Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated the pugilist on her exemplary accomplishment. Zareen said the Prime Minister's tweet is a matter of great pride for her. In cricket, Virat Kohli rode back to form with a crucial 73 of 54 balls to keep Royal Challengers Bangalore in the hunt for a playoff spot in IPL 15. Made to chase 169 by table toppers Gujarat Titans, Kohli had a century opening stand with RCB captain Faf du Plessis to lay the foundation. Kohli, the former RCB captain, however, could not finish the game, getting out to a Rashid Khan googly. Glenn Maxwell did the finishing job with a blistering 40 not out of 18 balls. RCB won with 8 balls to spare. RCB now has 16 points from their 14 pre-playoff games. RCB are currently placed 4th in the points table. Whether they qualify for the playoffs will depend on the match between Delhi Capitals and Mumbai Indians, scheduled to be played tomorrow. If Delhi win against MI, they too will reach 16 points. But as they already have a much better net run rate than RCB, Delhi will qualify for the playoffs. In tennis, defending champion Novak Djokovic, 13 times winner Rafael Nadal and new teenage sensation Carlos Alcaraz were drawn in the same half of the men's singles in the French Open. World number 1 Djokovic and Nadal, ranked 5, are seeded to meet as early as the quarterfinals. Alcaraz, 19, is bidding to become just the 8th teenager to win a Grand Slam men's singles title. He could face either Djokovic or Nadal in the semi-finals in a top-heavy draw for the 2nd Grand Slam of the season. The French Open starts at the Roland Garros in Paris on Sunday. Before we close, the headlines once again. Need to fight dynasty politics to save democracy, says Prime Minister Modi in virtual address to BJP national office bearers in Jaipur. Accuses opposition of exploiting small incidents for petty gains. CBI registers new case against Lalu Yadav, charges him with taking land from candidates in exchange for jobs in railways. In address to E-Vidhan training program in Lucknow, Speaker of Lok Sabha emphasizes the need to enrich parliamentary traditions and legislative processes. Food grain output estimated at record 314.51 million tons, higher by 3.77 million tons than 2020-21. Northeast states affected by rain and floods. Torrential rain forecast in 9 districts of Kerala. Flood alert in 5 districts of Tamil Nadu. That's all we have in this bulletin. To keep yourself updated, keep watching Sansad TV. Good night. Namaskar.